Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Riordan as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. But, oh hey, DJ! Cowdy vs. Acme was saved.
Oh, it was saved?
It was
Somebody
saved.
got it?
Yeah.
Who picked it up?
The same company that put out that The Day the World Ended one with Daffy and Porky Pig that just came out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Maybe it's The Day the World Destroyed. That one.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, apparently.
I'm going to be able to see that movie.
We're
That
gonna be
movie
able to see that
sounded
movie.
funny.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of that movie is so good.
We'll definitely do a bonus episode about it.
Yes.
If you want to hear it, join us over on Patreon. Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become part of modern pop culture through the lens of Riordan's Kane Chronicles. This is Story 102, The Throne of Fire. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
As we're doing today, I'm DJ the Muse, and I got a new car recently.
Oh, yeah?
Very stoked about it. It's very nice not having to worry about the temperature of my vehicle.
Yeah, was this wasn't a for fun upgrade purchase. This was a...
No, this was a necessity, but I did get a car that I was like kind of eyeing. So
It looks... I saw it.
It's awesome.
Look, DJ's got a nice car.
It's a 2012 Hyundai Sonata hybrid.
Wow. Ooh, it's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
Look
It's got
at
35 miles to the gallon. It's
Nice.
great. I'm saving the world while you're killing it, Darien.
Okay, but actually, not purchasing a new vehicle that I do not need is a boon to the world because I'm not contributing to the process that goes into making the
All
bad
I'm hearing
amazing.
is Darien making excuses as to why she's killing the planet
I'm not
and
buying...
not upgrading to a hybrid.
Upgrading to a hybrid when you don't need to is not the benefit you think it is. All right, we're going to muse around the garden for this. I can't believe we're being so tired right now. DJ, guess what?
What's that?
We have a new patron.
Outstanding.
It is outstanding.
What's their name?
Their name is Jeffrey Babbitt.
Jeffrey Babbitt.
Jeffrey Babbitt, I love
That
your name.
Sounds like a character, like just a character that there's hot gossip about in like Pride and Prejudice or some shit like that.
Oh my gosh, did you hear what Lord Babbitt did?
Yeah, right.
Did you hear about Captain Babbitt? Oh my gosh, Captain Babbitt ran away with Elizabeth Bennet's sister. No,
Crazy.
sorry, Jeff. What I love about Jeffrey Babbitt's name is there's not one, not two, but 3 sets of repeating consonants in it.
Nice.
And I think that's delightful.
That's cool.
So just extra shout out to Jeffrey Babbitt because their name is fun to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they started out as a camp counselor tier and
Yep.
upgraded to a podcast hero tier. Thank you so much.
We appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it. We hope
It's
you like
awesome.
those Remyth episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, we got something really special coming up for the Remyth episodes. We know we're falling a little bit up behind on those. We are going to make it up to our
Yes.
listeners. Promise.
It's going to be
And
great.
It's going to be great. Folks have asked for this. I'm pretty excited about this. It's going to be super cool. If you want to hear more about that, you can join us over on Patreon. You can actually join. I don't think I've talked about this for a long time. You can join for free and then get the outtakes on all the episodes.
Yes.
Like that's just the thing you get.
It is absolutely free.
A lot of cat shenanigans, a lot of pet shenanigans, a lot of us ranting about the state of animation.
Mm-hmm. Patreon.com/Muses of Mythology. You better believe it. We have a bunch of wonderful content over there for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see you over there. Get over there.
Real quick, if anyone is going to be in the Boise, Idaho area in May, specifically
May 17th.
May 17th, we're going to be at Gem State Comic-Con.
Yeah.
We are teaming up with our friend of the podcast, Leo from Gaming Theater Presents, to put on a panel that is titled From Percy Jackson to Lore Olympus, Greek Mythology in the Modern Era. So
Exciting.
come see us there. Also, go to a con in Boise. I've never actually been to this one before. I'm pretty excited to go for the first time.
Gem State Gaming?
No, Gem State Comic-Con.
Ah.
This is different than Gem State Gaming. Yeah.
All right.
But if you want to check us out there, please, that would be super cool. Or tell your friends about it. Or we might record it and post it. I'll see if I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
We'll find
You
out.
know, the term Gem State's really fun until it's starting to get used in very similar things.
Gem State Gaming and Gem State Comic-Con are like
It's like right there.
right there.
I bet it's not even the same people.
No, it's not. It's totally different. It's
Yeah.
totally different. It's totally different. But yeah, check it out. Details are on our Instagram. Thank you again so much Jeffrey Babbitt, who would never run away with someone's daughter to elope. They are the grand hero who makes £10,000 a month. A year? I don't know. Now back to the show.
Back then, probably a year.
A
month would have been
that seems
almost
you're right,
unfathomable
you're right.
back then.
Okay,
$1,800's
yeah.
$10,000
No,
a month?
Yeah.
That's a lot now.
Now back to the show. Hey, DJ.
What's that?
What'd you think of the Throne of Fire?
It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Once again, we are getting to enjoy this experience of DJ having never read these books before.
Yeah.
We finished the last episode with me asking you what did you think was going to happen. Obviously, as you said, there's no way you could possibly have guessed. And truly, there was no way you could have possibly guessed.
No, there's, I have no idea. No.
Mm-hmm. So what, I should read the back of this. That's what we do.
Yep.
Okay, let me. Ever since the gods of ancient Egypt were unleashed in the modern world, Carter Kane and his sister Sadie have been in trouble. As descendants of the House of Lives, the kings have some powers at their command, but the devious gods haven't given them time to master their skills at Brooklyn House, a training ground for what the fuck?
just got a frog in your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting Kane with that Kang, you know?
All right, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Ever since the gods of ancient Egypt were unleashed in the modern world, Carter Kane and his sister Katie. You do it.
It's my turn this week.
Yep.
Ever since the gods of ancient Egypt were unleashed in the modern world, Carter Kane and his sister Sadie have been in trouble. As descendants of the House of Life, the Kanes have some powers at their command, but the devious gods haven't given them the time to master their skills at Brooklyn House, a training ground for young magicians. And now, their most threatening enemy yet, the chaos snake Apophis, is rising. And now their most threatening enemy yet, the chaos snake Apophis, is arising. If they don't prevent him from breaking free in new days.
Right? Something feels weird about this text.
It's like 4 run-on sentences in like a row.
It's a lot of sentences that are too long.
It's
okay,
insane.
yeah.
If they don't prevent him from breaking free in a few days' time, the world will end. In other words, it's a typical week for the Kane family. To have any chance at battling the forces of chaos, the Kanes must revive the sun god Ra. But that would be a feat more difficult than any magician has ever accomplished. First, they have to search the world for the 3 sections of the Book of Ra. Then they have to learn how to chant its spells. Oh, and did we mention that no one knows where Ra is exactly?
Is that the end?
I guess it's like it narrated by 2 different wisecracking voices featuring a large cast of new and unforgettable characters with adventures spanning the globe. The second installment of the Kane Chronicles is nothing short of a thrill ride.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more of that last one is like the Addy.
Just a little flavor.
Yeah, just a little flavor.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
I mean, I was going to save this for in, but speaking of narrated by 2 different wisecracking voices.
The ending was a little
right?
Weird for this, trying to be like, oh, why don't you do it again?
Yeah.
Just the way it was handled felt weird.
Right? Okay. Yeah. So the framing device, as we've discussed, it's literally a recording. It's a transcribed recording from Carter and Sadie. They sent it to Rick Riordan.
Well, they're sending it out.
Well,
Rick Riordan has stumbled upon it, but...
Warning. This is a transcription of an audio recording. Carter and Sadie Kane first made themselves known in a recording I received last year, which I transcribed as the Red Pyramid. The second audio file arrived in my residence shortly after that last book was published, so I can only assume the Cades trust me enough to continue relaying their story. If the second recording is a truthful account, then the turn of events can only be described as alarming. Yeah. For the sake of the Kanes and for the world, I hope that this follows as fiction. Otherwise, we're all in very serious trouble. Yeah,
they aren't just simply sending it to Rick, though. They are leaving it in places for people to find.
Well, that's what's weird, is I don't think they are. I think...
Did they just, leave one and then send one to Rick?
Yeah, the first one is what we got the wires crossed is the thing they were leaving for people to find is not the recording, it's the locker where you reach in and you find, when Carter created his locker in the last book and he imagined it, and when they hid something in the Duat, that is, if you're a magician and you come across the story, you'll recognize how to do that and you'll be able to access what they hid inside, which will lead you to the Brooklyn house.
Wild.
So on one hand, this kind of the framing device at the top with being like, this is a transcription. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm very frightened. I think it sets a really cool tone.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first book, it was Carter and Sadie trying to get other individuals like them to come to the Brooklyn house and help revive the old ways. And it was specifically what they were searching for is like younger acolytes, right? Like around their age. And that's who they get.
More malleable.
Yeah, that's who they get. It's like from like 10 to like maybe early college age.
Yeah.
We
10
really
to like 18,
count.
I think, is like the oldest we saw.
Yeah, we don't get like a strong head count of who's at Brooklyn house, but it's not a ton, but it's a lot of younger folks, right? Kind of folks who, and essentially what they're also after are folks who have the blood of the pharaohs, but did not realize it in their family, or maybe their family like had this legend or whatever, but didn't like, wasn't actively practicing, right? So bringing them into the fold. And I think the nature and the candidness of their story worked really well for this. This book, at the end, it is Walt. We'll talk about Walt. Walt encouraging Sadie to record it again because everything happened and it went so badly. And the other houses are just not going to believe the Kanes, right? Like the chief lector, Desjardins, is dead. Now Amos is up for chief lector, and Apophis is coming back. It all sounds so bad.
Yeah.
So
and
Walt's like,
Amos is not liked because he is a Kane.
Yes, and the Kanes are absolutely like, we don't like what you're doing with this whole like trying to commune with the gods, and we don't. That's against the teachings of the house for like thousands of years.
Yeah.
So they're like, we'll put out the story again, explaining what happened to us and our adventure, and try to get empathetic folks. Now, DJ, why did you find the framing device to feel a little weirder this time around?
It's not like the framing device is like what, but like the ending is just like, what? Why are we trying to get the message out? Like, if they're not going to believe it coming from Amos, why would they just believe a recording that's published in a book?
Well, what did she say? The point is, whatever you are, whatever type of magic you practice, we need your help. Unless we unite and learn the path of the gods quickly, we don't stand a chance. I hope Walt is right, and you'll find me hard to ignore, because the clock is ticking. We'll keep a room for you ready at Brooklyn House. You know,
this world could be so cool if he just tore down the walls. We tore down those walls, and we are like, it's probably the next main series thing. But if we tear down those walls, and now we got Percy learning like Egyptian magic, but channeling Poseidon through it, like shit like that, right?
Do you want to read Demigods and Magicians?
That's
the 3 short stories he wrote for Crossing Over.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, the idea you just said is like actually way cooler than what happens in Demigods and Magicians.
What is it? Hazel shows up and they're like, oh, this is how you guys are doing magic? Let's like, compare. Like we get the better benders in Last Airbender are using other people's techniques. Yeah. Are using other tribes' techniques and not just their own.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's get that going. Come on.
That's a really good point. I'm currently
Let's
listening
see how
to the Kiyoshi
Sadie handles fucking runes, dude.
Sadie would do great with runes. Wow, that's such a good point.
Run it, Rick. Don't be a coward.
Come on, Rick.
It's also probably like
he's only
trying to keep in that world building and world scale, like ability scaling in check with that kind of thing.
How do you do
so
the ability scaling in check if you just let them start crossing over, running around? Like
if like gods start working with other gods' system, that would be fucked.
It's like the question of like who's the most powerful, and it's probably Percy and all of the. Well, I think Hazel, because she's not just the child of Pluto, but also learned how to do fucking magic.
I think if Hazel puts her mind to it, probably. I still think Percy sweeps.
I think Percy just because he's Rick's special boy.
That too.
Yeah, he's been given all of the things. He's the most special.
He's been given
boy.
So much, and then they.
And also, I think that doesn't mean he's not a well-crafted character. I think I feel that confidently because he's been given all of these things and is such a strong character.
Can't get into this right now. This is not what this episode is about.
This is not what this episode is about. This episode is me being like, so right before Sadie is like, hey, we need you to come, this plea for all magic users to band together and like embrace this lost art form to help us in our time of need. Right before that, she's like, talking about, like, you know, admitting, like, we don't have the answers. We don't know when Apophis will strike. We don't know how to heal Ra or Bess or even Walt. We don't know what role Zia will play or if the gods can even be trusted to help us. Most important, I'm completely torn between two amazing guys. One who's dying and another who's the god of death. What sort of choice is that, I ask you?
That was rough.
And I'm like,
you know, she's 13. She's boy
13.
crazy.
He's 13. I think this is a joke. So for sure,
this is bad timing for a joke. I think
weird timing for a joke, right? I'm trying to lighten the mood.
I don't need lighten the mood. That's not the kind of lighten the mood I'm looking for when it's like a bit of a harsher.
Well, Rick Riordan never lets his books end on a harsh note. That's why Mark of Athena has that extra chapter.
Yeah,
after
but that's not. I would say that lighter note is a more hopeful note. This is fucking
You're
a
right.
joke.
It's weirdly placed joke in the middle of like
the lighter note in Mark of Athena is like, we'll get them back, and we got to go this way to do it.
Yeah, you're right. It ends on a hopeful. And it's just so that's what makes it weird is that I feel like we're just like.
Imagine if it was like, have a safe trip. You know, that's the end of Mark of Athena. If Leo just cracks some joke about them falling. Yeah,
you're right. And it also feels weird because like the nature, like Mark of Athena, no one else is supposed to hear these narrative insights that the characters are experiencing. We are just in a story as it is happening and being told it, but it's not like, you know, it's like another book. It's not like whatever Percy is doing where sometimes we're like, is this a book you wrote or have someone writing? Or Apollo is very much Apollo talking to us directly. Magnus is untouched in something else, but this is very specifically supposed to be these characters have told us this narrative.
Yeah.
Like they are talking to us and talking to the world. And so it feels, especially if the plea is this one to other magicians, to other houses, for Sadie to have shared all of the Walt and Anubis stuff, it feels so wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Like, I'm 30.
You could have just been like audiolog, you know?
Yeah, let's say I'm like
Star Trek ass audiolog date name.
Facts.
Here's the thing.
Like, tell us what happened, but I don't need to know. Like, let's say like I'm a magician in this world, all right? And I'm like 30 when I'm in this world.
I don't need to know your.
I don't need to know your boy trouble, girly.
I don't need to know the inner turmoil to this level.
Like, and also I'm like, if you think
you're like saying this out loud, and your brother's right there too,
right? And I'm like, if you think that your boy drama is as important as this other stuff, I'm not really taking this whole thing seriously. It is important to you. I believe your relationship. And I'm not trying to undermine you as a 13-year-old going through your feelings. Like, your feelings are very real and very big, and you should be supported. But like, if you're telling me this is as important as like chaos, I'm almost not sure I believe you about chaos. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think Sadie's lying, but I'm like, does that make sense?
No, it would be. No, it sounds like she's lying because it's like it would be like a pathological liar. Right. You would be listening to the story and then like some things that shouldn't be near as important are crazy important, and you're just like, okay. But it's also, I don't know if I believe a word you're saying.
It's like we live in this world. We know these things are real.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm listening. I'm like reading about this 13-year-old telling me how not like, oh hey, this other boy I know is dying from a curse, and that's deeply sad and tragic. But like, I have a crush on two boys. How do I pick from? Also, I watched a man die because of chaos snake.
Dude.
I'm like, Sadie.
Watched a man die from a chaos snake, and another dude get his essence ripped out of him, consumed by
the chaos snake.
No, not by the chaos snake. By the moon god.
Oh my god, Khonshu. Oh my god.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Motherfucking Moon Knight screams it when he ults.
Khonshu.
Yeah.
He screams it when he ults.
Yeah, he's like Khonshu's wrath or something like that. Khonshu devours you.
We should probably do a bonus up. We should do a remyth episode on Moon Knight.
Maybe.
We're talking about the Egyptian books now. It's time. It's time. So we already did one on the mummy.
I know, right? Yeah.
So the I I just wanted to like we picked a little at that thread of like, hey, this framing device feels kind of weird sometimes, especially when it goes back and forth between Carter and Sadie, and they're acting like they don't know what the other person just said when they wouldn't have then, but they do now, and they don't reflect on that. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I just at the end found it so aggressively ridiculous.
Personally, it felt weird for honestly Walt to recommend it.
Yeah.
That was a strange thing
really
where Walt would be like,
Walt and
why don't
Sadie to work.
why don't you give it a try? I'm like, dude, I just,
I feel like I feel like a Carter. I feel like it should have been Carter coming back.
It should have been Carter. It's like, we should
hey,
do it again.
I've actually already started.
Yeah.
I've started recording from, I would have loved it if he's like, hey, I actually started recording what happened at the museum, because Carter opens us up.
Yeah.
And so I think if it was Carter being like, I think you should take over and we should do this again, because they have to know, like, you're right, that would have felt more impactful. And
it's like, we need more people.
Yeah.
We need to send the message out again.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And not Walt be like, how did he approach it? I felt the way he approached it too was just felt funky.
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about like, hey, don't worry about me. Don't worry about anything. We just have to concentrate on defeating Apophis. Any idea how? He gestured to my bedside table. He gestured towards my bedside table where my beaten up old tape recorder sat. Tell people what really happened, he said. Don't let Jacoby and the others spread lies about your family. I came to Brooklyn House because I got your message. The recording about the Red Pyramid, the Jed amulet. You asked for help and we answered. It's time to ask for help again.
So it's that first part is get to the people before lies spread.
Yeah.
But then it's like, then ask for help. And
well, no, I think that's true, because what she is she's a plea for help. Please come, we need you. This is what really happened. And I guess Walt being the one to say it, proving it worked before.
Yeah.
It worked the first time. Do it again.
Like,
I think that you're right. Going back and then, I actually think it does make sense for it to be Walt, just to underline that it did work. And she says they got like 20 people last time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just feels like I don't think Sadie fretting about is it Anubis or is it Walt? Like, I don't actually think that's bad, because it's the book. She's 13. We all said like that's fine. It just in the context. And if it was just her thinking and it ending being like, oh, what are we gonna do?
Also, there was no like, sorry about that, fighting monsters.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the recording.
She says, right, sorry, getting off track again. But yeah, I feel like there was less of the whole
use of it.
We were busy. Oh, sorry for the interruption. There's like at the very end when Carter passes it back to her, she's like, oh, I have the ending. Oh, you're never getting this back now. Like, fatal mistake, Carter. Giving me the microphone at the most important part. You'll never get it back now. The end of the story is mine.
Yeah, because like you started it while you were told the idea to do it again while Carter wasn't in the room.
That's true. He's like, oh, you should wrap us
the
up.
final chapter is like, and then Sadie approached me with the idea to do it. She told me Walt approached her about it.
Well, it is like the end of like, let's go fight.
Yeah.
And it's fun. So that's one thing I definitely wanted to pick out. I was like, this felt weird. This framing device is weird. I like it in the beginning, but by the end, I'm like, I don't. Yeah, it just feels.
Than it was in the first one.
I like the idea of it like bringing us more into the world as a real place and existence. And then the warning at the top definitely feels like, ooh, that like you're approaching it with a sense of foreboding. I like it a lot. But just at the end, just with the new context of it's supposed to go out to other houses specifically, I'm like, we've overshared a little bit.
That's what it was. It's not like it's going out to like it they want to send it out to the other houses, but the way that like final bit reads is that they're again just sending it out to recruit more people.
Yeah, but it's specifically supposed to go to the houses to tell them.
So, but then why send it to Rick?
Well, because they need to get published. I don't know.
Why not just make copies of the recording?
I think the original recording they sent out to a bunch of different people, but he was the only one that published it. So, anyway, let's I guess actually talk about the book. Yeah. I like this one a lot.
It was really nice.
I feel like I like Red Pyramid, but I feel like Red Pyramid had a lot of like little side quests, and it felt a little less like
succinct. And it felt like in Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief, really all the things that happened around them wasn't because they had to go to these places for their quest. They were passing by and then they were just happening to them.
Yeah.
Red Pyramid had a lot of that.
Yes, it was a lot of You're just passing by and things are just happening to you. This one's more like we have to go here for specific reasons.
We have to go here, 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 here. But that's because it is a fetch quest.
It is a fetch quest. It's a series of fetch quests that I don't hate.
No, I don't hate a fetch quest. Yeah. I don't inherently hate them. And it's degrading to call it a fetch quest, but it is kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
We're looking for the 3 parts of the Book of Ra.
Yeah, and we got to go find it.
And we get the first one right out the gate. Classic.
Yep, starting. And I like that. I like that we're dropped right into the action of a museum heist gone wrong. Hey, I thought Jazz died. The healer girl.
She has insane control over her bot. I didn't think that she was dead yet, but it was. I thought she was definitely close to dying at the end of the series.
I was
at the end of this book.
I
thought we were going to come back to her body.
I thought we were going to come back to her body. I misremembered her dying. I straight up was like, oh, damn, Jazz. Yeah, I forgot you die. She doesn't. She's fine at the end.
No, she's totally fine.
Awesome. I'm glad. I don't want this fictional child to die, but they get in here and they, they're going to steal. They get a griffin. And that's pretty cool.
Nice.
So, should we talk about Walt? We should talk about Walt.
Okay.
Let's talk about Walt. Let me find Walt.
Walt is a fella.
He's good at runes.
Yeah.
Not runes.
Hieroglyphs.
Amulets.
No, amulets.
Amulets. He makes amulets.
Yeah. He's 15.
Walt was 14. Same as me.
Great.
Mm-hmm. And
hey, you know what? It's better than 16 and 12.
Yeah.
13 and 14 is.
Except DJ. Walt has a tragic backstory. DJ, do you remember Walt's tragic backstory?
His dad died when he was 18.
When the dad was 18, yeah.
Yeah.
Because his ancient royal pharaoh ancestor is the King Tutankhamun.
Yeah.
Whose father, Akhenaten, was cursed because they didn't like that he decided they were going to have one god in Egypt. And as soon as he died, they all went back to the old ways. But the family has a curse where they all die young. It's kind of a genetic disease. Not every generation, not every person. But
not every generation, but then it's like my grandfather, my dad, me.
It's bad. Tut died at 19. Most of the others, 12, 13. I'm 16 now. My dad was 18. I never knew him.
Forgetting he was
14
at the start of the book.
Carter says it's literally 14, same as me on page 8. On page 244, it's I'm 16. And you'd be like, well, Carter was just wrong. And it's like, but these characters are never wrong like that. They are the ones who present us with facts of the world. Yeah. We are not led to believe they are unreliable or
especially
misinformed.
Since he's recording after these events.
Yes, especially since that.
So arguably.
Yeah. And also, if Sadie's right there, she would correct him.
Yeah.
So it is just Rick forgot. And the reason he forgot or changed it, because is it just too sad to have Walt die at 14, so let's make him 16?
You just said you had people who died at 13.
Exactly, 13, 12.
It's like, whatever, who cares?
And he talks specifically
why not? But also, why not just fucking have it be like, oh yeah, they die young and they're like 20s.
Yeah.
They just get to like a horrible accident in like their mid-20s.
Mm-hmm. He talks also about how the curse accelerates when they use magic. So it could almost be like he's 14 and he's going to die younger because he went to Brooklyn House and started using magic.
Yeah.
Like, Rick, why did you
It accelerates his aging by a crazy amount.
That doesn't make
from
you
the start
older.
of the book to now.
You could be aged, but you're not 16 years old. We've talked about this with the Talia thing. She's not frozen at 15 forever. The sun keeps turning. No, the world keeps turning around the sun.
Yeah.
Years keep passing. That's how you
Technically
age.
The sun is turning.
Yes, but that's not why time passes. Or not, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
We mark time. So, and it's like, okay, you did it twice, Rick, with the same character?
Rough.
Weird. And she does start this book by turning 13.
Yeah.
Where she goes to London.
Finally a teen. I don't think she actually says that though, which is crazy because she absolutely would have.
She would have. She totally
Sadie's
reveled in the fact that
100%.
she's finally a teenager proper. We're going a little bit all over the place. I just have some big thoughts on the Walt, Sadie, Anubis love triangle.
I don't like love triangles.
No.
I know I've discussed it before. I just don't like him. They
Just like a
irritate
love
me. And it's rough on like Walt. Honestly, Walt is the biggest victim in this whole love triangle.
But she can actually be with Walt.
Yeah.
She can't be with Anubis.
But it's like she's clearly leaning more towards Anubis.
Yeah.
It's blatant. And Anubis probably couldn't care all too much if they actually get together. In the grand scheme of things, motherfucker is a god, He might be bummed out for some time, but then he's a god. 100 years, 200 years, it'll pass.
It's unclear because if he's supposed to be like a 16-year-old,
yeah,
then how? And he's been a 16-year-old for who knows how long, or he's only just a 16-year-old. We get their graveyard date where he kisses her.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is supposed to be a 16-year-old, and she is 13. Jail.
A little rough, yeah.
Jail for Rick.
Definitely a little rough.
Jail for Richard. I'm so mad.
Yeah, you can't be just meshing all the teens below 18 together. You just can't be like, oh yeah, they all like the same.
Just make them both 14. Like if Walt was 14 and Anubis looked like a 14-year-old, fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
She turned 13. This is fine. Why did we do this? I'm sorry I'm harping on this.
Why the fuck aren't Carter and Sadie twins?
They should be twins. They should have been twins. I don't know why, right? They should have been twins. It feels right for the narrative. Whatever.
It's
fine. Whatever. We move on. We go past. I'm done harping on it for this book. Oh, one last thing we got to touch on a little bit is that Anubis is like weirdly vibing with Walt, who's all of a sudden using like kind of death magic. He like turns an opponent to ash during a battle.
Yeah.
And then when Sadie's visits, like her ba is drawn to the infirmary at Brooklyn House, she sees Jazz's Wren, not her ba.
Yeah.
But her Wren, and speaks to her. And then Walt is there, and Anubis is there with Walt. And you're like, what's up with that, gang?
Yeah.
So, Gigi, what do you think is up with that? Because I know what's up with
that. And is Anubis like physically there? Walt can see him?
No. Walt has no idea he's there.
Yeah. It would probably be Anubis probably making sure Jazz doesn't die because Sadie.
Aw. I don't think he's doing that.
No, probably not.
No. He's like, I think he's just it's like, he's just there. And you're like, why are you here? Who are you talking to?
It's like somebody close to somebody I'm courting is dying, and I'm just gonna go like watch them die.
Watch them die, but she doesn't die.
No, she doesn't.
She's fine.
But she's like on the brink of it, and it's very interesting as to what's happening because she's like a healer.
Yeah.
So she's got control over her Wren. She's
also given her Sadie at the beginning of the book an amulet that has Carter's name in hieroglyphics. It's like a healing amulet. Yeah. He's like, you're gonna need this later.
Yeah.
So.
When we say amulet, they're made out of like wax. Just to be clear. They're not like I just wanted to clarify that for other people. When we say amulet, it's made out of wax. Yeah, they use a lot of wax. Yeah. That's cool. We should talk more about that. Do you want to swing over and talk about the other romantic thing they've got going on in this book? It's Zia. I feel for my boy Carter.
Yeah. I find the Carter talking about Zia less weird to the framing device than Sadie because of where it left off with Zia being a Shopti and now is finding her again. Yeah. Like him talking about that feels less weird and distracting than the Sadie Anubis Walt dynamic. Yeah. But I feel for Zia. She's been trapped in a sarcophagus having I feel for everybody in this situation. It sucks. It's Nephthys. Not fun. This magic shit is rough. Mm-hmm. It's unclear as to how true the Shopti truly was to Zia. It was made by the guy. Yeah, Ishkandar. It was made by Ishkandar, and it's like that. He is him when it comes to magic. I imagine it was like 99% Zia. In terms of personality. Yeah, so shout out to Seaweed Brain, who made this comparison. DG, are you familiar with Madeline Pryor from the X-Men?
I've heard the name.
So she is Jean Grey's clone. Jean Grey gets cloned, replaced by her clone, who ends up becoming called Madeline Pryor. But the clone has no idea. No one knows that this is a clone. And she's just put right back in her life, and no one knows until the real Jean Grey shows up. So I think, and I agree with him, I think the Shopti situation was this. Was the Shopti had no idea she wasn't Zia and was just being Zia. But towards the end, things started to break down, especially when she knew she had Set's secret name from Nephthys, but she was not hosting Nephthys, so how did she have that? And it was because she was connected to Zia. Carter describes it later as, she remembered me, sort of, but our time together was like a movie she'd watch, with an actress playing her role, doing things she never would have done. And that right there, the never would have done.
I just don't fully believe that.
Yeah.
I think that's what Zia says, but that's because it's Zia from the start of Red Pyramid, not the Zia that actually went through everything. It's Zia who, honestly, it did Loki better than Loki did. I fucking hated that scene. That scene annoyed me when Loki sat down and watched his life and then felt the remorse of that original Loki. That's not how that would work. No, this is how it would work right here. Yeah. Zia watched somebody play her, but it wasn't her. She wasn't having the experiences. She wasn't dealing with any of that.
Yeah.
And so now she's coming out. It's like, I wouldn't have done that. But you don't know you wouldn't have done that. You weren't actually in that situation.
And I actually think you would have done that because you did do that. A version of you did that. I think the Shopti is a version of Zia.
And again, it was made by the guy. You think he's not making a damn near perfect copy of you?
No one noticed.
No one fucking noticed.
Because listen, they all know. They talk about this in Red Pyramid. We kind of glossed over it because we got to the end. I'm like, oh my God, we never talked about Zia. Other magicians would have noticed in a heartbeat if Zia was hosting Nephthys. Like, that is why Ishkandar needed to hide her.
Yes. And he did such a good job. Nobody even noticed it was a fucking Shopti, not Zia, a very powerful flame magician.
Who's grown up with these people.
Yeah.
So I think exactly that. I think this was essentially a clone of Zia made with magic. And while Zia is like, I wouldn't do, like you said, I wouldn't do that now, but I think she actually would have.
She would have done it then if she was actually in that situation.
Yes, because
she would have done it.
Yeah, she wouldn't do it now, but she would.
But that's because she's at the start of Red Pyramid and just came out with a god pretty much exiting her body.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And all this stuff. They find her holding the crook and flail of the pharaohs.
Yeah, like Ra. This is the shit Ra held.
Yeah, like this is the most grandiose, sacred. Yeah, and when they get Zia out, I love the description. It's a sarcophagus made of water. Inside the sarcophagus, Zia Rashid floated in white robes. Her arms were crossed over her chest. In her hands, she gripped a shepherd's crook and a war flail. Symbols of the pharaoh.
Very good.
It's very good. They rescue her. Nephthys leaves, goes into the Nile. And then we've got our baddie for the book.
I can't remember his name. Some Russian shit.
Vlad.
Vlad, but not Petrikov. Something Akov.
Menshikov.
Yeah, Menshikov.
Yeah, Menshikov, who is basically what they thought Desjardins was in the first book, where they were convinced that he was the one Set was hosting.
Ass character.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, nah, he's actually working for Set. He's our bad guy the whole time, but he actually wasn't.
Yeah.
Like Vlad is literally working for Apophis the whole time. Like he has been.
He's hosting Apophis at this point.
Essentially, not quite, but
at the end he is though.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be.
No.
Like there's a moment when they're fighting and they see maybe he kind of started going towards
Apophis. But Apophis really fucking
grabbed
him
and yeah, exactly. So and Desjardins looks rough.
Desjardins, that man is aging. Decades and minutes.
Yeah, he's dying. We do find out it is because Vlad is cursing him. Yeah. You're like, damn, that sucks. Sorry, Desjardins. We just need to get you out of the picture. But yeah, and Vlad is evil.
Oh yeah,
he is aggressively
he's a villain, bro.
Evil. This is
Slytherin ass villain, dude.
Yeah, he tortures a demon to non-existence in order to summon Set, and it's There's some like real horror in this.
It's
book.
it's
like,
real body horror. Honestly.
Yes, like that scene, the scene where Bobby and the vulture goddess possess Sadie's grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. That's really scary.
Bobby the bamboo or
baboon.
Baboon.
Yeah.
Yeah, baboon goddess.
And or
Like, it's not bamboo.
god. Baboon god.
Yeah, baboon god, sorry.
And then the vulture goddess is Neckbet.
Yep.
And they are possessing her grandparents to go after her because
she hasn't proven herself to be strong enough.
Yeah.
And the Nephthys feeds on the weak, and Bobby kills them, kills the weak.
Well, yeah, it's like the idea of the cycle of nature where the
strong kill the weak, and then the vultures scavenge on that weak prey that the strong killed.
Yes. And they only believe the strong should survive.
Yeah. And
so they should not prove himself. They also don't support the idea of bringing Ra back.
Yeah.
Because he was sick when he left. Because
he was a sickly old man.
Yeah. Because Isis poisoned him.
Yeah.
We see
Isis healed him, but then
Isis poisoned him.
Well, yeah, Isis poisoned him to get his secret name to heal him.
To make him leave.
Yeah. And then she used the secret name later to make him leave.
Well, no, because she had a secret name and she could make him leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was her game plan.
Yeah. So like Ra's like, instead of having you like forcing you to use it on me, I'll just leave so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like now you have that power over me. I don't want you to ever use it. Fuck you.
Yeah. And we see when he's like, all right, Bast, my faithful cat, I need you to do something for me.
Yeah.
So Bast has been fighting Apophis since before Osiris took over.
Yeah.
And we're not going to try to timeline this because it doesn't.
It's Egyptian.
It's hard. And the fact that the gods also possess humans, and that's why there are different versions of events. And the gods, like the 5, were born on those demon days because Newt gambled with the moon to get extra days. And then they're also like brother, sister, and then also Horus is their son.
Yeah.
And so it's like the timing is weird, but I still don't know when Bast was in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Just
also, the final battle of this book does take place like in Brooklyn, which now I've never been to New York, but Brooklyn's right fucking there.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is a sect of like New York City.
Yeah. But it's like a real quick fight. But it's like a real quick fight. It's
another sun showed up.
But like only for a minute. Is it dawn?
You're gonna tell me nobody is gonna go take a look? It's like, what?
Well, by the time they got over there, it was already over.
Apollo's right there.
By the time they got over there, I think here's the thing: the Greek gods would have known it's the Egyptian gods, and they just looked the fucking other way. They ignored that.
Actually, you know what? They were dealing with heroes right now. Give or take.
It's actually impossible to say. I don't actually know.
I don't know if we've
I think it's
said
alongside. Well, the first book was at Christmas.
Okay.
This one's in March. Sadie's birthday is in March.
So maybe it's in between Lost Hero and Son of Neptune.
Well, so in Demigods and Magicians, Percy and Annabeth meet Carter and Sadie.
Okay.
I think this is running parallel towards the end of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And those stories take place right before Percy gets snatched by Juno. But when we visit them, we'll see that
Percy gets snatched pretty quick.
He does. I don't know what to tell you, my man. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Eventually.
And when I say that, I mean we won't. But we'll talk about it again later.
Yeah.
So the body horror of her grandparents being forcibly possessed and transformed by the gods.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. It's like, is it because they weren't blood of both pharaohs? Or because we know it's not because they hadn't practiced magic. Because
they're old.
Because they're old. Because
old
Uncle Amos
feeble.
Was possessed by Set. And he has trained his whole life. He is the second most powerful.
Like Set.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I don't know. The blood of the pharaohs thing baffles
Power
me.
scaling's bad.
Power scaling's bad. Like, it's like, if Horus wanted to, or if Osiris wanted to, could they just taken over Sadie and Carter last book, no problem? But, like, Carter talks about physically holding Horus back, so he can't.
I think it's probably, for Horus at least, it's a sense of, well, I don't want to like actually like forcibly take this guy's body. I just, I'm not going to shove him to the side, but I'm going to walk forward. He could stop me, but if he doesn't,
but then like Isis actively tries to. Like,
Isis does try to do that, but
she doesn't.
Horus it feels like a guy trying to push through a crowd rather than coming through and just like running and shoving him aside. It's like, hey, yeah, but like another guy's trying to stop him.
Yeah. But that gives us like the gods who are good and the gods who are bad. But it's like, but that's not what it's supposed to be. It's like order and chaos, not good and evil.
Yeah.
Or like what we're supposed to be following in Egyptian stuff. And like Nekbet and Bobby are like on this side of order.
Yeah.
Like the order cycle. Yeah. Also, side note, vultures are great. And we as a society have villainized them unjustly.
Just because they look grody.
They do look.
They look a little grody.
But they're super social. And some breeds of vultures don't have vocal cords at all. They have to dance to each other to communicate, and they'll tell other vultures where there's prey.
Wonderful.
And they keep the environment like clean.
They're bald and black.
They're spooky as fuck. Don't get me wrong. They look wacky as hell, but they're great. And they're so important to the local ecosystems. Without vultures, things go really bad.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
So just wanted to shout out vultures.
That's why there's a vulture god.
Why there's a vulture god. That's true. So Anubis helps, but only a little bit. He gives her a knife that is
Can that knife only be used once?
Yes.
Is that specified? Does he say it can only be used once?
I think they know it can only be used once.
I don't remember it being clarified, but then again, I listened to this book in 2 chunks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, when they're with Mad Claude, he's like, use it on us.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Right? When she first received it, was there like a specification you can only use it once?
I don't. Anubis doesn't say that, but like Sadie is like, this is definitely a thing we can only use once. Because they use it on Ra at the end for the mouth opening when they do find Ra.
Yeah, and he is senile.
Dude,
he is a liverwort filled, crotchety, U-shaped man.
He.
I guess N-shaped man would be because he's like bending forward rather than, yeah.
He has been in...
He's been in an old folks home for the last 5, no, like 8 eons. So long. Was the first guy there, pretty much. Why is it an old folks home? Is that like, is the 4th floor or 4th chamber really?
I have no idea.
Like Forgotten Gods going to rest there?
I have no idea what these houses are. We'll figure it out. I don't know. Here's the thing. I really do love this as a conceit. For like something Rick has created, because it's definitely like, if it is a place where forgotten gods go, like it's not framed like this. So the idea of like a divine retirement home for gods who have largely been forgotten, lost their followers, lost themselves to these sands of time. Where do they go?
It would have been neat if in Trials of Apollo during the Tyrant King, right? Tyrant's Tomb. That's what it was. If they had alluded to the God of Silence being taken from an old folks home.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Because it was a forgotten god. Like that, like Apollo even's like, I forgot he existed. He like barely showed up to the Greek people summons. And he was originally an Egyptian god co-opted by the Greeks.
They like
misunderstood.
Like they misunderstood. He was like a factor of Horus, if I remember correctly.
He was a god of secrets. And
no, they thought he was because of the shushing symbol. Yeah. But that actually represented youth. He was a small child. So yeah, because I think he was like Horus. Yeah. He was an element of Horus that got twisted.
Yeah.
And so it literally changed him. And so that does like take into account the I'm not taking into account. Sorry, that's not the word I wanted to use. It is the idea that gods fade when they are forgotten is. So Ra shouldn't be in the old folks' home.
No.
Because he has not been forgotten.
Certainly not. He's the guy. He's him.
Yeah. That's what's so in the wider. That's the other thing. It's like, does it work differently for Greek gods than it does for Roman gods or like Egyptian gods or Norse gods? Like if you are forgotten in Norse mythology, but Ra has not been forgotten.
No.
And none of these gods are still inherently like worshipped. And even the magicians don't worship them, but they still tell their stories and believe them. And we know the Greek gods survive off of their stories and cultural relevancy. That is how the emperors were turning themselves into deities, getting that immortal godhood.
Yeah.
And so I like the idea of like these gods who are being forgotten being in the nursing home. Ra shouldn't be here because he has not been forgotten. He moved himself. He left Earth and went to the Duat because of Isis.
Yeah.
And because he was done. But it is somewhat unclear how a god who still had his elements and the Egyptian empire still lasted a very long time and he still has a great deal of cultural relevancy.
I guess that would probably be
because Isis did heal him. If he was still sick, I could see this like eroding him a little bit more, but like
Isis healed him.
That's
I could it's probably an element of every pantheon has their own rules of divinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's maybe why if you choose to go through the Greek route, it's only cultural relevance and these things. And for ancient Greece, it's time, I guess. Like, really? Ra aged? He's a god? Why didn't anybody else age? Why did Ra get crotchety and old? Why the fuck is Isis still not? Like, why is Osiris still like a young strapping lad?
And it's like, why were they trapped in the... Because those ones were still... They were trapped. Like, they were imprisoned in the Rosetta Stone, and it was like an element trapping them in the Duat.
This is probably, for as little as we have on Norse, at the very least, he had some sort of through line, I feel like, when it came to gods and divinity in the Norse mythology. This is a little rough.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at the scene where they use the knife for the opening mouth ceremony on Ra to like, he is like essentially catatonic when they first find him. He's completely unresponsive. So they do this opening mouth ceremony, read the next passage of the book of Ra, and he kind of like, comes back into it. Magic comes into him. He becomes like alert again. But is still like you said, senile, still like not coherent, not utterly aware of what's going on around him. Keeps talking about zebras and weasels.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
So,
like, honestly, if they had just gone to some farther deeper part of the Duat and not this old person's home and found him like this, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because like, why are
this old person's home like was explicitly explained to be for forgotten and aging gods.
Yeah. And he is neither.
Yeah.
Again, I still like it as a concept, and I think I didn't think about any of this stuff just reading through it. But now that we're actually having a conversation, like digging a little bit deeper on the surface, it doesn't track with...
What's the hippo goddess's
name? Tarwet. No.
Taweret?
Sure.
Yeah. She's great.
I like her. I like her a lot.
It would have been cool if it's like, Ra wasn't forgotten. He wouldn't be here.
Yeah. And if there's like, why is he here? And it's like, on one hand, it's like, is it because he's been disconnected? Maybe. Okay, hold on. Trying to circle the square.
Yeah.
If when Ra left, he completely cut himself off from the kingdoms of Egypt, from his symbols of power, from everything else. And that was a mistake. And that slowly eroded at him over time.
Yeah, eroded at him. And then also the Ma'at.
Yeah. Because it can't be that he never went back to Earth because Anubis is 16 years old and he's never like actually had a host or been out.
Yeah.
So that's not it. But I think if you could say, like, by completely severing that that doesn't work. Anyway, we'll go back.
Why did he age? Why was he the only one that aged? Like, Anubis is 16 still.
Yeah.
What the fuck? 60 for 5,000 years?
Yeah.
Why did Ra age?
Nephthys is...
What is this?
No, and Carter actively forgets Nephthys' name, but she's fine.
Yeah.
Huh. Owen, figure it out. So...
Is it? Well, I was about to ask another like mythology thing. Like, is it really a thing where like they had Ra step down? Was that like a thing?
Ra was the first pharaoh, and then Osiris was a pharaoh, and then yes, because there is this story of Isis poisoning Ra, using a secret name to heal him. And then
Okay, but did she poison him because he was becoming old and senile, or because she wanted Osiris to have the throne?
usually because she wanted Osiris to have the throne.
So why is he old and senile, Rick? Why is he aging? Why? Is it because you just wanted this conflict?
Yes.
You just wanted the
It
issue
is,
of
because we want to skip.
he's going to come back old, and a lot of people are against that
Yeah.
because they need a strong leader right now?
Yeah. So let's skip to the end, which is this really interesting inversion of the ending of the previous book.
Yeah.
Where the previous book ends with Horus like stepping up, with them being invited to this grand party with all the gods paying him these deepest respects.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it is them putting Ra back on the throne, much to like Horus and Isis are
a couple of gods.
Yeah, like Horus and
oh.
Isis are not happy about this, but they're going to support Sadie and Carter still. But like, it is the opposite. Like, everyone is unhappy. Everyone is like, they have kind of. It suddenly we are worried that the gods are not going to stand by them. Like, it's not just the magicians they need. They need the gods and their various magics to stand by them too.
Yeah,
and it's unclear if that's going to happen.
Why was Ra old? I think I'm going to be stuck on that for a while.
I know. We'll circle back. Maybe we'll read something in the last book that'll help.
Maybe.
Because it's been a long time since I read it too. So maybe there's something there that explains. Because it does seem odd when it's like, he's just old and forgotten. It's like, but he
wasn't forgotten because it's Ra.
We all
Everybody
know
know
it was
who's Ra
Isis's
is.
fault. He was sick.
Yeah, Isis poisoned him.
Mm-hmm. She
really
cured him
could've-
to get him out of there.
Yeah, you could have just had her, honestly, had her do that like excrement thing on Ra. Just send him super deep into the fucking duat.
Yeah, I think she wanted him out by his own terms.
Yeah, but
Just so, because again, order matters. She couldn't just assassinate him because that would undermine the. But if he willingly left because of the thing she orchestrated, it is still order.
It's just.
Well,
we
gotta
where
move
do you go
fast.
old?
Hey, speaking of Tawet, though, who's great and just so nice, and she's just caring for these old gods who've been forgotten because there's no one else to take care of them. Like, it's so good. So we should talk about her, Bess, and Bast.
That was also a pretty bad love triangle. I wasn't into that.
I really hated that.
Just,
I hated everything about that.
yeah, it was definitely just like that's something I'd see on TV and be like, I don't.
it is so weird and it's so mean.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't like it. We haven't talked about Bess at all. Bess is great.
Bess
I
is awesome,
love
dude.
Bess.
I cried when Bess died.
Oh, that was so
That was rough.
devastating.
I
Like,
was like, Bess, oh my god.
literally gets his Ren sucked out of him by Khonshu when they've been too long in the old god's retirement home, and so they need to gamble with the moon to get more time, to get a couple of hours. And Bess sacrifices himself to get, so it's not Carter or Sadie.
They're playing Parcheesi, or sorry, effectively. They call it Senate, which is probably a real thing, but
it is. It's it's one of the oldest known games in the world because we have artifacts found in Egyptian tombs.
Yeah.
No idea how to play it. Like, the rules have been lost because they were never like recorded anywhere where they survived thousands of years.
Rick
so
has
Rick is
implanted sorry onto it.
Yeah, so Rick has kind of invented and I'm sure there are like scholars who have like
other name.
You kind of look at it, and game theories can probably like folks who are like specialized in this. You can look at what you have and like kind of guess what you think it probably is. Earlier, Zia, Sadie, Walt, and Bess are all playing this game when Carter's been out for a while, and that's when Zia decides she's going to chill with the crew.
Yeah, I was like, we'll be fine. Sadie is great.
Yeah, we're friends now. It's like, okay.
But
they're gambling.
They're just playing sorry. You could have it's how many sticks? 4?
Gambling for 3 hours. Every time Carter.
How many sticks do they throw?
I don't remember, man.
Dude, like why was it so bad to get in the house of 3? What? Because you got to flip up 3 sticks. It's all fucking random anyway.
Well, you have to get exactly in.
Yeah, you have to get exactly 3 in the house of 3 specifically. But it would have bumped him out, and then I'm sorry, Bess. It didn't need to go that way.
Well, no, because it's way more unlikely that you're going to roll, because you have to get an exact number to get in, whereas you can do any other number. So you need the exact number to get into the base. Yeah, but then I still got to get
there. It was their first 2 pieces. I still got to get 2 more pieces that are at home right now back.
Yeah.
So if I roll and it's not a 3, I'm just moving the other 2.
Oh, gamer got mad.
Yes. It's dumb. It was a dumb strat. Best, you didn't need to do that.
Listen, statistically, they weren't getting all 3 in before Khonshu got at least 1 in.
No, they weren't, but you could have waited until it was like the last 2 pieces.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? It was like, whatever.
It was about, Khonshu was great, though.
I love Khonshu. Big fan of Khonshu.
Very slick. Weird thing where they describe him as looking like a Native American casino owner. And I do like...
He's a big gambler, though.
I do like gods looking like various... If you're not going to just specifically stick with them through one lens, like looking like various people who live on Earth. Honestly... But he's also... No other gods are described as looking Native American. And that's why I have a little bit of like, that felt weird.
I just... it invoked so much. I could see it. The black jacket with the leather elbow pads.
I could see it. I've seen the image.
The 10-gallon white hat. I could see
I've seen it. I'm not saying like he's pulling from a very specific like cultural image.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's just a little weird that this is like the one character who's described as looking Native American because he's not indigenous to North America because he's an Egyptian god, is also being anchored with this very complicated idea of the casinos. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a weird thing that you did there, Rick. Ricky, you didn't have to. Okay. You just have to describe another god as also looking
insane. God, I love it. Sometimes I love these dated ass books.
Yeah, sometimes I love these dated ass books. But yeah, when that's such a bummer losing because Bess is so cool. He is the god of dwarves. They have a specific dialogue about whether or not what languages should be used and what is appropriate. And it's like this conversation with this like teen girl is telling Bess he shouldn't use that word. I'm like, Bess can use whatever word to describe himself.
Here's the thing. I am a dwarf.
Yeah. Like that is the thing. It's like, do not tell other people the language they should use for themselves. Yeah. Like that is not your place, child. You need to sit. You mean well, but you need to sit down. You have more learning to do. So, and this idea of like he can make himself so physically ugly that it is a superpower. It is repulsive. He was very popular among the common folk. Mm-hmm. He protects the kids. He's their driver. He's great.
I love Bess.
I really love Bess. I don't love this weird romantic hang-up he has on Bast.
It's a little rough.
Yeah, and where it's like framed as Bast being... And then Taret's upset because he was always into Bast, so he was never into her, but he was into her. They did kind of have a thing, but then Taret she didn't have to. She rescued Bess from a very embarrassing, very traumatic situation, and now he can't bear to like interact with her. And I think that in and of itself is an interesting romantic or relationship dynamic to navigate without bringing in the Bast of it.
Best light is Bess and Bast had a conversation about it.
Yeah.
They talked about it and pretty much worked through. Bast isn't interested, and they're just going to try to continue their friendship as is.
Yeah.
Regardless of Bess's feelings towards Bast, but that's kind of the best you can do about it. And eventually those will work itself out. They're gods.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to continue to be friends. Taret probably doesn't know of that conversation and maybe still views as Bess going way out of his way to help Bast, and Bast asking arguably not this time, wasn't really an impossible thing, but maybe at other times asked impossible things of Bess that Taret viewed Bast is taking advantage of.
And see, I can totally see where Taret is coming from, like seeing someone who from ways she views it, or the problem I'm having is the way it's being told to us is that Bast always had like Bess on a string, and she's a cat. She just plays with them and doesn't really care about his feelings.
That's how Taret is interpreting it, and the reason we're being told it like that is because like the other parts, it's you can read it like that. You can also read it as there's some uncomfortability there because, I mean, they're gods. Maybe they had the talk 700 years ago and that's was like last week.
Right. Yeah. So it's the frame up is that Best talks about how like, he and Bast were at a lot of festivals together. They kind of like, because they were both really popular among like the regular folk. And they people thought like, you should get together. And that just never did. So clearly Best had a crush on Bast.
Yeah.
Bast was never into him that way, but they were friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes she would ask him for favors. And so the thing is that her pulling on, I know you like me, and I'm a cat, and I just play with you, and I don't care? Or is that you're one of the only people I trust in the world? I have to go on a dangerous mission to check and make sure Apophis isn't about to break off his thing, but I need someone to protect my kids, and you are literally the only person I trust to do that. Yeah. And so that's where I'm at.
That's why it's... Taret doesn't know they have that kind of relationship. She only sees... She saw at one point Best longing for Bast. Yeah. Bast not returning it, and Bast continuing to ask for favors. And then it develops over the periods of he's not talking to Taret.
Yeah, because of the
And so Taret still only understands that earlier dynamic and not a newer dynamic that could have... I mean, this is the best possible light for this kind of situation.
And the way you're describing it, I think is really interesting. And I think it's complicated and I think it's nuanced. Because like Taret has this line where they're saying, like, can you help us find like rot? And she turns to Bess. Are you asking for this, Bess? Do you truly believe it's important? Or are you just doing this because Bast told you to?
Wow. I'm like, wow, Taret, none of your fucking business.
Well, that's her. It's like she is trying to figure out, like, she doesn't really think finding Ra's a good idea. She doesn't know these kids from Adam. She does know Bess. And so she is like, okay, man, I trust you. If you are telling me that you believe in this, not just because you're doing it because Bast asked you to do it, because you legitimately believe in it, I'll do this. But if you're just doing this because you like Bast and she asked you to do this, then like I'm not going to help with that because I don't want to be part of that.
The tone that might be read in.
Exactly.
The tone you read it in and the tone that the narrator read it in was definitely more of a, are you asking or is Bast asking?
But that's the other thing. She doesn't like Bast.
No, I know she doesn't like Bast, but I'm like, well, man, dude.
Are you just doing it because Bast told you to?
I'm like, ugh. That's such a shitty way to phrase that question.
But I think that's exactly what she is asking.
I know
she's
it
like,
is,
do you actually think it's important, or is it just because it's something Bast wanted you to do? Yeah. And it's so weird. And I think the problem I have with it is like later. Oh, hold on. There's one more thing that I think is nonsense. Is that when they actually talk to Bess and they're like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" So he even says that like they did like he and Taret went out a few times. She was just too nice. And I was kind of obsessed with somebody else. Bast, Carter guessed. That obvious, huh? Yeah, Bast. She was the most popular goddess among the common folk. I was the most popular god. So, we'd see each other at festivals. She was just, beautiful. And then Sadie's narrating, so she thinks, typical man, I thought, only seeing the surface.
Kind of cringe.
Anyway, so do you want to go back and see how Sadie describes Walt and Anubis whenever she fucking sees them? Like the first thing she thinks when she sees Walt or Anubis?
It's like, spend a lot of time with Baz. Like, why? Yeah. If somebody's like, sure, they might be like physically beautiful, but the more you get to know them and you're like, oh, damn, they are actually like a beautiful person.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, Sadie.
Damn.
Like,
Walt and Anubis. And to describe multiple aspects of a person.
Yeah. Like, Walt and Anubis in this book. And the first thing you think when you see either of these boys is how fucking hot they are.
Yeah, literally.
So I need you to just sit the fuck down, Sadie. And I don't think that's like meant to be like an insightful thing on Riordan's part of like us.
The crazy thing
I don't think we're supposed to recognize that she's being hypocritical. I think we're supposed to take that at face value.
I think so too. The crazy thing is, like you brought it up earlier, I think the reason that Carter's descriptions of Zia feel different than Sadie's descriptions of Walt and Anubis are Carter is like focusing in on details of
who
Zia's face of like Zia and like just like what like things. And from what I remember, Sadie really was just like, damn, he's hot.
Yeah, dark
like
hair,
effectively.
Dark, dreamy eyes, tall, broad-shouldered. You're right. I don't think Riordan knows how to describe men as being like attractive like that, but he definitely knows how to look at his wife and think, "Oh, she's so pretty."
He's like, "What do I like about my wife?"
Yeah,
of course.
But Bast goes on to say, like, Bast treated me like a little brother. She still does. Has no interest in me at all. But it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah, and so
I was so
that
obsessed,
reads
and I wasn't good to Taret over the years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like not Bast's fault.
No, it's not. And that reads as Bess doesn't really feel that way anymore. Like he might still have some love for Bast, but it's not near at the same level it was, and it could very well be just, I love her as a sister now as well. We've been through a lot together. We've done a lot together.
Yeah, and because when we smash to the end, after Bess, after everything, we see Tarret, and she's taking care of Bess, like, specifically. Because of course she is. She loves him. When she sees Bast, she's
just
pissed.
Immediately
like,
so
how
angry.
dare you come here? Haven't you done enough? And Sadie thinks she's mad at them, but she's mad at Bast. Tarret, Bast held up her palms. I didn't want this. He was my friend. He was one of your cat toys. You're as selfish as all your kind, Bast. You used him and discarded him. You knew he loved you and you took advantage of it. You played with him like a mouse under your paw. That's not fair, Bast murmured, but her hair started to puff up like she was scared. Best deserved better than this. He deserved better for you. He had a good heart. I never forgot him. It's like, okay, because Tarret's the one that rescued him when Best was trapped by this czar of Russia. So Bast was trapped and fucking Cleopatra's meal with Apophis. So like, it's not like she abandoned anybody.
40s. She came out 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that, and again, Tarret's not mad at the kids. She's like, child, I know you mean well, but don't give me false hope. And then the thing about it is, what we're all the things you're saying about how the way Tarret is viewing it is not actually accurate. Like, Bast wasn't that they're friends. She was close to him. She treated him like a brother, so she loved him like a brother, but Bast just had feelings that she did not return. But right in here, it says she wore a very uncat-like expression. Shame. Which I think is meant for us to interpret that actually Tarret is right. And Bast has often gone to Bess because she knows because he's in love with her, she can get him to do things. I hate that.
Yeah.
And I'm really doubling down on this because there's a line in the third book that almost confirms it. And I also kind of hate that.
That sucks.
That's also a tad bit, like, that's a little bit where I'm coming from, where I'm like, what the fuck? So, yeah, I think the way you're framing it and the way it can be viewed is a far more interesting, complicated, nuanced situation. But I think it is supposed to be what it is at face value. And I hate that because I think it's unfair because as someone who growing up had a lot of her guy friends decide they were in love with her, it sucks to suddenly be told you're the bad guy in that situation for not returning their feelings, but also still being like, but you're my friend. Like, I thought we could still do friend things. Obviously, if someone's like, hey, I have these feelings for you and I don't return them, the mature thing to do is being like, hey, if you need some space, I will give you that space.
Yeah.
But that's not what this conversation is. And so the idea that, like, Bast is not allowed to go to a person she trusts when she needs help because he has these feelings she doesn't return sucks.
I still read that line as Bess saying, what is it? It took me a long time to realize that. I still would read that as Bess is over those feelings.
But I think the idea is it's supposed to say that he's not.
No, I think it's Bess is over those feelings. And what is it? Because other than that, arguably he probably lied to Tarret, right? We don't want that. We don't want that.
We don't want that either.
I don't like to view Bess as a liar. So it's Bess is over those feelings, but Bast doesn't know that. Bess is doing this because he does care for Bast, right? And it's like, yeah, my friend is asking, like, one of my, like, truly my closest
She needs someone to
friend.
babysit her kids.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't realize he was going to lose his rent in that situation.
No, and that could be why she feels like the shame is that she asked him to do this and it resulted in him losing his rent, like a fate worse than death, essentially. Yeah. And that could be what it is. But because
it could be like, I mean, wouldn't you feel even just a little shame on your part if you asked me to go to the store and I got in a car accident?
Of course.
Like, you wouldn't have been out on the road if I didn't ask you.
It wouldn't be, but except it wouldn't be shame.
It would be guilt.
I would feel guilt. Guilt is different than shame.
We weren't in Bast's head.
Exactly. But I think that's the
guilt
idea
might have looked
like
like shame, to a 13-year-old.
Yeah, because also cats don't feel guilt. But like a guilty express, like I would feel so guilty, but I wouldn't feel ashamed of what I did.
Yeah.
I would feel, again, because I think that's very different. Shame is when you have done something wrong. it would not have been wrong of me to ask the favor of you, but I would have felt guilty that the outcome was so terrible. It was not wrong of Bast to ask this sincere favor of her friend. It would have been wrong if she did it because she knew she could manipulate him into doing what she wanted. And that's where the shame comes in. And that's why I think it is supposed to be this face value, which is far less interesting. It bums me the fuck out.
Yeah. I'll read it as Best was over the feelings until until Best comes out and says otherwise. Yeah, I did it because I liked you. I'm going to read it as Best was over the feelings and helping his friend.
Yeah.
Bast was still thinking she was manipulating him.
And that's also very interesting, or she feels bad that maybe he only said yes because he still has these feelings for me, because it also, the thing I like is like, again, she obviously trusts Bess to watch these kids.
Yeah,
like
these
it's
kids
not,
are important.
She wouldn't
to
just go to
Bast and like everything.
I'm sure there are other gods who are like in love with her. She's not going to go ask just any of them to watch her kids because they'll say yes. Like Carter and Sadie are her kids.
Yeah.
Like she will not leave them under anyone else's. Also, like, weird that we brought Bast back just to like get rid of her from this whole book.
Yeah. She was just gone. She showed up for a little bit and then left again.
And then left to do the Apophis thing, which is interesting. But it's like, I guess because they needed, before Uncle Amos came back, when he was going, we needed just another adult to be there in between the books.
Yeah, right.
It's great. She teaches a class on napping. There's a wait list for it.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'd be the teacher's assistant
It's
in that
fun.
the TA in that class. So we'll get to that. But yeah, that's a thing I have where I'm like, ugh, I don't love this. I don't love this. The Sadie and Anubis Walt thing is fine, except for the fact that the boys are 16. She's 13. I'm like, what is this? Carter, I had another thought.
Huh.
Percabeth is the greatest love story ever told.
It's great.
The reason I think it's so good is because it was built up so thoughtfully over the 5 books. And then as we have revisited it more over time, Rick Riordan has had the opportunity to add like depth and layers to that relationship.
We're building up a little bit here. It's a bit of a slow burn.
Even Percy and Annabeth felt like a slow burn. This feels like, because there's only 3 books.
Yeah,
we
are going to get a little bit of a speed run.
So much going on that I am so acutely aware of how young they are. I'm so acutely aware that they are like,
again? What?
It's like 14,
Yeah,
14, 15. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like I'm so acutely aware that like Percy and Annabeth are in game. These 2 are going to be together forever.
Yeah.
Even at the end of The Last Olympian, I believe that.
Yeah.
Carter and Zia and Sadie, and let's be honest, Walt, because Anubis is not happening. No spoilers. It's just not happening. He's a god. Sorry, babes. They are kids. And it's just like, you're going to date and you're going to break up because you're kids.
Yeah.
And this is just what happens. And I think it's maybe because he just had one really good love story in him. But even I feel that kind of same way about like Magnus and Alex. Like I like them a lot as a couple. I think they're super interesting in their dynamics. They're gonna
have the half-born and Meg thing. It's fucking
Mallory. Yeah, you're right. Because they're also weirdly immortal. So that even feel less about that. You're like, yeah, you'll break up, you'll get back together. Like whatever. Yeah. You have all of eternity. You're dead. But like I just felt I was so like the romantic, especially because it ends with Sadie being like, I don't know what to do with these boys. And again, I think it's a joke, but like by including it in there, it kind of does add some weight of like, this is a really serious thing. And it is like relationships matter and our interpersonal relationships do matter. But I just find him so less compelling in these ones than I do for Percy and Annabeth. Because again, like, I think there was the build up and the pace and the fact that Percy and Annabeth spend so much time together in these books. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
We don't spend a lot of time with Zia one-on-one.
No.
The most time we spent with her was when she was a Shopti.
Yeah.
Even in this book, they're with Zia and then she immediately bounces off with Walt. We get to go on like one quest with Sadie and Walt, and that's fun, and I like Walt. But like, I feel like we were with Annabeth like the whole first book. Right?
Book.
And then the
whole
that's another
second
thing.
book.
Magnus and Alex are like together their whole books once they're like teamed up.
I guess the 3rd book they weren't together. The whole 4th book and most of the 5th book.
Even in the 3rd book, we were cutting into Annabeth.
Yeah, we were cutting into seeing Annabeth struggling.
What she was doing, and we got her back. But yeah, we're with Annabeth all the time. Percy and Annabeth are together all the time.
And it's like, it's not even just like we're cutting to Annabeth. Percy's dreaming and seeing Annabeth. Mm-hmm. That's the only way we get to see Annabeth.
The anchor that holds him to this mortal world.
Yes.
And we we just don't spend a lot of time with Sadie and Walt. We don't spend a lot of time with Carter and Zia. So when we're told, I really like them, it's like, that's nice.
We're just, it's, what is it?
But
you're just not going to get a situation where Zia is going to instinctively block Carter's weak point. The one weak point that they don't even know is there.
They don't even know it's there, but it's the one. They took a dagger. They took a dagger for him.
It was good. It was very strong. Anyway.
Not to compare him, but it is like, I think we're allowed to compare him. It's the same author. Yeah. So damn, Desjardins died.
Desjardins dies, and that was a bummer.
It's kind of cool at the end. He dies keeping Apophis from rising, buying them a little bit more time.
It's like, I know it's not. Is it excrement? Was that really it? It's he excrements Apophis, which like
exercise?
No.
Okay.
It's not exercise. I notably know it wasn't exercise. He blasts Apophis deeper into the duat, but the duat is like Apophis's whole shtick, so he's going to get out in due time.
Apophis is going to get out in due time. Oh, in due time. Yeah, not due time. And due time, like he's going to prison.
No, in due time, Apophis will get out. But like, I guess it's only going to take him like a couple months to get out. But it could have been like, if it's going to take like 20 years for him to get out, why not just like train up somebody to do this excrement every 20 years? just a sacrifice.
That's kind of dark.
But if it's every other month, you can't be doing that. Yeah, it's too much. Extricate?
Because we saw Vlad do this at the top when he like totally destroyed that demon. He had like a figure of like, it was a corkscrew head demon, so he had a corkscrew. He destroys the execration. So that's what he tries to do to Apophis.
Yeah, it's what he does. He does succeed.
Yes,
but
you're right.
But again, it's Apophis. It's actually not really gonna. It's just gonna delay him.
Yeah, I erase your name. I remove you from the memory of Egypt. It's pretty rad as hell. It does like he the Apophis screamed. The beach imploded around him, swallowing the serpent and sucking the red sand into the vortex.
Mm-hmm.
And he does say, it won't last, only bought you some time. You used your life force to banish him. Don't like it much, but you were right. The old ways, our only chance. Tell Amos what happened. Show this to the others. He dies. Because apparently the line of succession is whoever is the next most powerful magician.
Crazy.
And so,
honestly, I'll be real with you. At the start of the Red Pyramid, when it was Ishkender and he was like training Zia, I'm like, oh, Zia's like a crazy, just powerful magician.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, no, she's got some other destiny. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no, I feel like she should be the next. Like, not right now. She's too young to be the chief lector. That's crazy.
But she should show like potential to be like a stupid, powerful magician. But she doesn't. She's like she's a strong flame magician.
Yeah, she should just be all around powerful, and she is, and she's capable.
She should, at the very least, showcase something like what Walt showcases, where he just like dusts somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Zia should have some other like crazy burst of power.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice as to why she, aside from like a special destiny, is like, oh, Ishkender brought her in and was training her specifically because she's so crazy powerful.
Yeah, because we also get this. We find out that Apophis just like personally, well, not him personally, he's trapped in the duat, but like he had Zia's village destroyed intentionally. Like he reveals he is specifically
he sent the demon there, or was the demon or whatever.
Yeah, because the idea, what we're told in the first book is like, monsters are trapped in artifacts. Zia's father found one, accidentally unleashed it on the village, and it destroyed everybody. Only Zia survived.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I think that's still that, but it was specific to destroy the village where Zia lived. And it's like, okay, like you said, Zia's got some crazy fate that Apophis finds her personally to be a threat.
Right. And it's like,
okay. Why? Like, how do you know that? That's the other thing. How do any of you know this? Like, we get sometimes like
prophecies really. I never associated Egypt with prophecies.
We know, like, it said, like, Ruby, Kane, their mom had the gift of prophecy and that she communed with Isis specifically.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing I'll have to get into. I'm not super well versed with Egyptian like mythology is in depth as I am with Egyptian. So or with Greek. So that's what this season is about.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does feel like, is this another thing with the Norn where Rick's like, I gotta have prophecy in my book, so I don't know how to function without it?
Maybe.
I guess we'll see.
Just kind of cringe. Just let Apophis be trying to do shit.
Yeah, just destroying.
It's like, I'm trying to come back. Stop.
Stop. Just stop. Hey, stop it.
Hey, let me come back.
Hey, you stop.
I'm trying to surface. I'm trying to get out of the duat so
God
I
damn
can fuck with all your shit. Your toys look funner than mine.
Your toys look funny. So Shazia's toys, where Iskandar left her with the crook and the flail and it's like powerful too. Like Carter uses it to fight, and they are like pissed that he's using
it's like
symbols of the
he's
pharaoh.
Like, he uses it to fight, and it's like stupid easy for him to just summon all this power.
So yeah, he does that.
It's like, oh, this is great.
Speaking of like Carter summoning power,
dude, I love Horus in this book. It just made me love him even more. It was so good.
You're a real Horus fan.
I love it.
I did like Horus more, and him being like pissed. It's like, hey man, you lost me my fucking job as the pharaoh for this guy, and it doesn't work.
I want you to know.
Before we die, I'm gonna kill you first.
It's like you cost me the throne. I hope that we need Ra. I hope we needed Ra.
Because if we find out we didn't,
because if we lose, I'm killing you.
Or if they win and they didn't need Ra,
and I didn't need that old bag, I'm fucking finding you.
He's so mad. He's so mad. Hey, okay, real quick. Speaking of Carter doing the fight mode, when they roll up on the Brooklyn house at the very end, there's like these evil magicians who are attacking. Carter popped into avatar form. The glowing gold kind, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Was that a James Cameron avatar joke?
No, did you in the fight with Vlad, he literally turns into like he turns into Horus. Like physically, he is flesh with a falcon head.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right.
And he's like, I don't know what's going on. This is crazy.
They're
Let's
so
run.
deep in the duat, they're really doing the things and not just like, you're right. Okay, the golden glowing.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. That does make more sense. It could have been, though. The book was published in 2012.
Right.
Could have been, though. Oh, no, the paperback edition. Well, the first one was 2011, so still could have. But you're right. That is what it is. Okay, thank you. Hey, they see their parents.
They do. It was fun.
Right before Khonshu shows up and eats best soul.
Why is the mom water? Or just a floating mist?
She's just a ghost.
Is she just a ghost?
She's just a ghost. Like, their dad is Osiris.
Yeah, their dad is Osiris. Why not give her, like, some physical manifestation? Is that, like...
Because I think it's important to remember that she's dead.
Well, so is their dad.
Yeah, but he's Osiris, so he's a god.
So?
How do you think Isis feels about this?
I don't know. I don't care. Fuck Isis, dude. She's a bitch.
Do you think Isis... Because, okay, hold on. This is a thing we didn't touch in the last one, and we're going to wrap pretty soon, but I want to touch on this. Do you think that now their relationship dynamic is that of a father and siblings? Because they were hosted by this dynamic now. And so the relationship between the deities is now Isis and Horus are the daughter and son of Osiris.
No, because Isis still said, you cost my son the throne.
You're right. I feel like Isis is probably fucking pissed that Ruby Kane's ghost is hanging around the underworld because we haven't seen her and Osiris
together at all.
At all.
Yeah, it's
what a weird thing just not to like touch on because Ruby Kane is going to be there. Is she there all the time, or is she only there when the kids are there?
The craziest thing to me is that Isis looked like their fucking mom for a bit.
I think that was because I think that was like projecting. But also we find out at the end of the Red Pyramid that like she did commune with Isis. So.
What the fuck?
I don't know, man. And you talked earlier about how like it's kind of weird that Rick did that for like the gods and the hosts and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's kind of makes it, you described it as muddy. You're so right. It makes it so really muddy. Like I like it because again, I like how distinctly different it is.
Because again, if like the Egyptian gods are going to, like as you just said, if the Egyptian gods are going to update their relations and like the way they actually refer to each other with their hosts, they should have. It would have been interesting.
That would have been so interesting. Yeah, because it's like, because again, originally they were all siblings, and Horus was Isis's brother.
Yeah.
But then we have the change where now Horus is Isis's son. And if Rick decided he's going to keep those fact that those two things are true because he wants to do that thing with gambling for the moon later, which was really cool, then you're right. Yeah, it should be now they are referring to as like, you cost my brother the throne.
Yeah.
And I think we as the reader, that wouldn't have been confusing because we would understand. But again, Rick Riordan is historically so hesitant to change anything in the source material that dramatically. Like there is, again, I think this is the reason that Apollo stayed on Olympus when he totally should have left. He totally should have left the council. He should have removed himself from the end of that book. And he does it. And I think that's because Rick Riordan will not, he will play with it. He'll toy with it. He'll use it for his world, but he is not going to do anything in his narrative that changes it from where it was at the start.
Bro, you got like
he'll introduce a new idea.
You got 2 decades on this stuff. You might as well just like start fucking with it.
Yeah, like
you know, you've brought your Legos down. You had those completed sets. You brought them down. You played with them for a bit. You added some Legos here and there. Rebuild them. You got
turn that flamingo into the Millennium Falcon.
Here is you have the ability to write your own instructions because you are the author of this world.
Yeah, it's like
the Lego pieces you are borrowing are simply the Greeks, like just the gods and the pantheons.
Yeah, because he will introduce a version of the narrative and say, this is the true version of the myth. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
But after that's been introduced, he's not going to chew anything that'll fundamentally change it as a result of his story. Yeah. Like he introduced the idea that the gods don't talk to their kids because reasons for the lore. And at the end of that, he changed that.
Yeah.
But that was the thing he introduced and changed it. Again, Apollo doesn't leave. Osiris, Horus, and Isis's relationships don't change. Like the gods at the end of the Magnus books don't decide that Ragnarok isn't inevitable anymore.
Yeah.
He, regardless of what happens in these stories.
Well, it's because it's like Ragnarok is inevitable.
Right,
they're still around. They know.
But like, what if it wasn't? Or what if the idea was we discussed that Ragnarok has already happened? Like, what if, because we did all this stuff, like it doesn't necessarily have to be. But he decides it is because he's not going to touch anything that's too fundamental to the mythic thing he is playing with. And at a certain point in time, with the narratives, I am starting to find that a little frustrating.
Yeah. He's like, well, you just kind of.
Especially Apollo. Especially with you made Apollo so much your character.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. Yeah, someone needs to get Apollo out of there. This is not about this. We need to get out of this episode. Yeah. Okay. DJ, what do you think is going to happen in Serpent Shadow?
Oh my goodness. Well, Apophis is going to take the Oracle of Delphi.
No, you can't do that joke again.
I can and I will.
Because you can't do it a third time. Comedy comes in threes and there's not going to be a third time.
What are you talking about? It's going to be like, oh, Apophis, they defeated him. Apophis will come back and take the Oracle of Delphi. It's a big fuck off snake.
What do you think? So Anubis
we're going to open up. It's going to be Carter is on a date with Zia or a mission with Zia that's like loosely disguised as a date.
Okay.
That's going to be the opening. Or it'll be with Sadie and Carter because that's it. I just have that feeling it's going to be one of those two. It's going to be a date or a mission disguised as like a date, or like they're on a mission but they're disguising themselves as like they're on.
Either it's Carter and Zia or Sadie and Walt.
Yep.
Nice. I like that. Okay. Yeah. What do you think Ra saying that he needs zebras means?
He needs Zia to host him.
Interesting. Okay.
Or host like part of his power, something like that. And then it's going to be like, oh, that's Zia's destiny. It was to actually become king of the gods.
Sounds like you're not jazzed with this theory.
No.
No.
It's just, I don't know. I didn't want Zia to have like a grand destiny. I wanted it to be crazy powerful.
Right.
I just wanted that.
Not a piece on the game board. Just super powerful
just
and independent.
Crazy strong. That's why, because they didn't say she had a big destiny in.
No, it felt like we invented this in the second one.
Pyramid.
Yeah.
It was Ishkender took her in, and I read that as she's really powerful if the top brass is taking her in.
Yeah.
But it's the aversion to the destiny stuff when it comes to Egyptian mythology. And while I have the preconceived notion of Egypt doesn't do destiny or prophecies.
Yeah,
Because like going into Norse, well, yeah, it's the Ragnarok. We know they already do that. The Greek, the oracles, like that was a thing.
Huge
we know
thing. There's
they
so
do
many
that.
stories of people trying to fight prophecy.
Egypt, I don't have that preconceived notion. I've never heard of prophecies or destiny or future telling even involved in Egyptian mythology. And I've not done a ton of deep diving into it, just like the here and there, but I feel like the here and there I got from Norse was more prominent as to...
And even when we unpacked it, it was like the idea of fate and destiny was like distinctly different than what we were presented with.
Yeah.
I guess, we'll see. Well, that's what the season is. We're going to deep dive. We're going to feel like we can speak on it stronger.
I'm super excited for the season. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be weird. Owen pitched that we should also do an episode about the Library of Alexandria. We might do that. We might do like, hey, here are some things, here are some like cultural artifacts of Egypt that you know about but probably don't know about.
Yeah.
And that might be one of our first episodes. I don't know. I got to sit down and I got to make a fucking spreadsheet. But until then, thank you all so much for joining us.
Yes.
If anybody is reading along to these books for the first time, what do you think is going to happen next?
Tell us in our Discord. You can get it. It's available at patreon.com/muses. You pay $5 to get in, at least.
And with that, you also get all of our Bunker 9 bonus episodes, which are 102 of them.
Yep.
Just as many main feed episodes you'll get on Bunker 9.
Absolutely.
You want to hear us dunk on our least favorite continuity errors from the books? Or maybe talk about why Percy's friends are bad at giving him gifts.
Or do you want us to continue that conversation of that Percy would sweep? That's there too. It is there.
We're gonna do who's the most powerful, and is it Percy?
We already did it.
Oh, did we do that?
Yeah.
We've done 102 of them.
We've done 204, at least 204 recordings.
Oh,
there's
plus
so much more
36
over there.
Remyth episodes.
Plus 36 Muses episodes.
36 Muses episodes.
Right, it's 3 years running now on that?
3 years running on Muses. Yeah. So we're circling just south of 300 episodes total
for
this thing we've been doing for 5 years.
Wonderful. We hope to see you guys there at the Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Muses of Mythology. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
All right, and we will be back in your ears on Tuesday, May 6th, to talk about Serpent Shadow. Until then, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor, The Crystal Conman, Nicholas Miller. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain.
And our cover is by Ran Kapoka. You can find them on Instagram or through the link in our show notes. Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Join the Patreon for free for access to outtakes and bloopers from our main feed episodes, or for $5 a month, you can enjoy our Bunker 9 bonus episodes every other week. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology, or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episodes transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.